Hey friends, Jen here. Thanks for tuning in and welcome back to Homes That Heal. So today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to revisit a super popular show and one of my favorite episodes with my dear friend, Crystal Herbrand. It aired about this time last year. It was all about spring cleaning, clearing energy, and basically purging our homes. Clearing your home and workspace, really anywhere you spend a good amount of time, is super important because it honestly affects your overall energy and alignment. Chatting with Krista was such a fun and juicy conversation because it was foundational. It's truly the whole reason I created this show. I want to show you how you can clear the chaos to truly create a home that heals. Here's how. If you take a step back and really look at your life and why you feel the way you do, many of the answers are all around you. They're living right in your home. It's your environment. For example, just like growing and nurturing a plant, you need to nourish it with the right environment to thrive. It's really that simple. We need clean air, clean water, sunlight, a space where we can relax and unwind, and a peaceful place to sleep. So, really, it all starts with home base. Our home is our sanctuary space, and the vibe we feel and the environment we create is a direct reflection of our well being. So I really wanted to share this conversation again because I love this time of year. It's spring and it just feels like aligned timing. Feeling the itch to open the windows, let the old air out and some fresh air in, clean out the closets, the garage, the kitchen cabinets, the car, all of it. The reason we feel this way is not a coincidence. Our minds and bodies ebb and flow with the seasons. So it's just in the air, literally, and is perfect timing to clear the clutter and dense energy that no longer serves us. Plus, Krista walks us through how to sage your home, which is an amazing way to deep dive, cleanse, and truly restore your space. I do this throughout the year for a variety of reasons, but spring is like the ultimate detox. Also, I want to remind you if this is resonating and you want to truly transform your home into a wellness sanctuary space, and you haven't done so already, please hop on over to the jenhellerlifestyle.com site and download your free home wellness checklist. It's honestly the roadmap and guide I created specifically for you and how I created Heller Haven. Think of it as a detox for your life and home. It is so good. Okay, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I'm super grateful for you and all the beautiful messages, support, rates, and reviews. I hope you enjoy the show today. Crystal's fabulous choice in eyewear, and I look forward to your feedback. Cheers. Are you struggling with low energy, weight gain, hormonal imbalances, or heavy metal and mold toxicity? Do you want to learn more about anti-aging tips and creating more longevity in your life? Well, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Jen Heller, a wellness educator, infrared sauna expert, and home health consultant. In this podcast, Homes That Heal, I will teach you how to transform your home into a health and wellness sanctuary. Your health is your wealth, and I believe that your home should be your sanctuary space, loaded with the tools you need to thrive in your life, not just survive. If you want to feel fantastic and transform your life and home, grab a pen, let's dive in and create a home that heals. Okay, here we go. Thank you for joining us and coming back to the Homes That Heal podcast. I'm so excited to introduce to everyone a good friend of mine, fellow business owner, and superstar bright light, Crystal.
Hello.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, as I just mentioned to you, this wasn't a podcast interview. This is what we call a Jen and Crystal jam session, where we're going to just talk all things business, homes that heal, what we do to keep ourselves aligned and balanced. And we've been friends for a long time and we'll walk through the story, but I wanted to have you on as a guest because you pretty much embody what I would consider the person who's walked the path and can really share a lot to my listeners, what has worked well for you, things you've learned along the way. So I'm going to shine the bright light on you and ask you to share with us a little bit about your story and how we've come to this place.
Okay. So we met because we both had businesses in Wanakee. I started a spray tanning studio, and I don't know exactly how old I was, but I started that because I got melanoma when I was 28 years old. So I was an avid tanning bed. lover. And it's funny because I just read a meme that was like, back in our day, going to the tanning bed was like our meditation because we didn't have our
Oh yeah.
phone. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that totally resonated with me because that's what it was. Like, I didn't know I was meditating back then, but little did I know, even though it was
Yes.
giving me cancer. However, so I stopped laying in tanning bed, started spray tanning all the time, decided why not take the leap and open up a spray tanning studio. I met a ton of amazing people, one of them being Jen. And I think we can also so resonate over how having that brick and mortar was something that tugged at our heartstrings because we loved having it. But at the same time, like letting that go was like a huge weight lifted off our shoulders
Yeah.
because that was really heavy. So I started the spray tanning, absolutely loved it. My gift was making women feel good naked. Like I've
Mhm.
always, that was kind of my gift. You got
Yeah.
comfortable. I made you feel comfortable. Awesome.
I have to tell you too, interrupt you here. When I first met you, that was one of the first things that you said to me. I was like, "Why did you start a spray tan?" You're like, and you said it so matter of factly, like, "I just want to make women feel beautiful in their own skin. I want them
Yeah.
to feel beautiful naked." And I was like, "Well, la di da,
Yeah.
that paints a picture."
Yeah.
So that stuck with me. So sorry, carry on.
No, that's good. I'm glad. But then after numerous years of giving my energy away, and I didn't know that's what I was doing back then, but I was giving my energy away so much to the point where it was like making me not being able to function the way that I would like to function. And so that's when I started to actually get more into the energy work and the crystals and the spiritual side of my identity now, I would say, is because I spent so much time giving, 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 and making sure everybody else felt good to the point where I was pouring from an empty cup and had no idea. I'm also a mom and a wife and just didn't have any more to give and kind of hit that rock bottom and had to go and find a different route. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what led me to this lifestyle.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think a lot of women and people just in general can resonate with we get excited to, I left corporate. I don't know where you were before the tanning studio, but I left corporate with this burning desire and passion to just give to others and pour into wellness for other people. And I will say that that's still a piece of me, a huge piece of me, but I had no idea the level and the impact or the toll that it would take or the energy that it takes to be able to pour into other people day after day after day, in addition to running the business. Like those
Right.
two things. In fact, Mark and I were just in Florida this last week talking with other business owners and entrepreneurs. And that was part of the conversation about it's one thing to do what you want to do and what you love all day long. It's another to run the business and all the things behind the scenes, the making sure the lights are on and the employees and the
Yep.
business is clean and the taxes are paid and everything is running smoothly. Like there's so much involved. And I completely underestimated that because there's no playbook. There's nobody to
Right.
tell you, and there's no playbook to explain that. I just dove in, as I know you did as well, head
Right.
first,
Because it's what we wanted to do. We thought what we were
right.
doing was this amazing thing, and it was, but it also, we didn't like, I think we looked at it with like the rose colored glasses of
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh, this is going to be awesome.
Gonna be
Like,
fabulous, all the things. And it was, obviously, we'll
yes.
share a little bit about that, but I think my idea of wellness, like I opened the wellness center, you opened a wellness space as well. Like the intention was to pour in wellness to other people. But tell me a little bit about where your health was before that, and then walk me through, I don't want to say the pivotal point or some of the experiences along the way that kind of check engine lighted, so to speak, you to
Yeah.
understand like, oh, wait, maybe I need to balance this out or make
Yeah.
some
Like what
changes
I'm
here.
doing isn't working.
Yeah. Or that.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So one of the big things that happened was I would come home and I literally would not want to be around my family. That was kind of my breaking point. And prior to that, I was very outgoing. I wanted to be around people. I would say health wise. I mean, clearly I wasn't like the most healthiest person that I was sitting at tanning bed all the time. I think that was the biggest scare was, oh my gosh. I had a 1 year old at home when I got that phone call that saying that you had melanoma. So that was a huge wake up call because I'm like, it's not just me anymore. But I also am a firm believer of like your mental health is just as important, sometimes a little bit more important than it comes to like your I don't want to say well-being health, but your physical health, because your mental health can make you extremely sick. So
Right. Like your mental health means more than if you can fit in your skinny jeans. I get it.
exactly.
Well,
So
those things go a little hand in hand, but
they
anyway.
do. I'm not gonna lie. Like, so I ended up. I've always had mental health issues or mental health. I don't want to say issues. I've always dealt with mental health a lot of my life. I was an empath, so I'm giving all of this away and wondering why I have anxiety. I kind of hit rock bottom and was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know what to do. I'm going to try anything and everything because that's the point I was. So I was like, I want to change up my medication. I want to see a therapist. And I'm going to start getting Reiki and energy work done and get like, I was just like, give me everything so I can try it because I needed to feel better. And one of the biggest changing points was I had a Reiki session with an amazing mentor. And after I got done with that, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what happened, but like it was almost like there's a huge turning point in my life that made me go, wow, what I'm doing isn't working. And she kind of explained to me, she's like, what's happening with your chakras and all. And she just did such an amazing job that was where I was like, okay, excuse my language, but this shit works. Like,
Never excuse your language.
yeah.
So quick.
Okay. And
Anybody
that
who
was,
knows me knows that I
yeah.
don't excuse my
Okay.
language.
I didn't know if we were allowed to swear out here.
Oh,
So
I mean, we need to kind of keep it classy, but let's be honest.
exactly.
Mm.
But so that was kind of my tipping my toe into the spiritual energy world. And then I dove deep into it. And a book that 100% changed my life was called You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero.
Yes.
That changed
Yeah.
my life. And the only reason why I got it was because Judy, my mentor, I would say for Reiki, she told me I needed to start having more yellow in my life. So I went online and I was looking up like self-help books, and this You Are a Badass was on the page and it was yellow. So I was like,
Yellow.
okay, I'm just gonna get it. And then another thing was like, okay, that's the universe talking to me, like believe your intuition. And then it just spiraled into like, oh my God, this shit works. And I think
Yeah.
we need to have the synchronicities happen to realize how it's real.
Yeah. Synchronicity is definitely the word that I always use. It's kind of like the confirmation. Once you look inward, and I can resonate with this Reiki because the first time I ever did Reiki, NRT, nutrition response, anybody who knows me knows that I'm all in on anything that's mind, body, spirit. But the Reiki was interesting because that's a different feeling. Like that's a different experience than massage or touch. And if you really, which you should, but if you really go inward on that experience and you're working with a gifted healer, boy, that is pivotal. That will change your life and give you the understanding. I remember the first person that I did this with, and it was right when I moved to Madison. And I remember they came to my house actually, which was awesome.
Yep, Judy came to my house too, which was so cool.
Which
That was
was
like,
isn't that great? Like it's so
yeah,
it's in your in your comfort zone. You feel that it just brings a whole different element of comfort to the whole experience. But I remember when he left, I was like, I will never forget how I just felt being able to look inward and know that I have so many answers within. Like I was
yes.
looking outward at all, like looking outward for all the
Which is what
answers.
we
Like,
do because you need that validation,
well,
that outside validation for some reason.
right. We're looking out because our eyes look out. But if we
Mhm.
really close and go inward, the level of understanding that you can have when you feel that energy, and that's what NRT did for me as well. When I detected all the metals in my body, I could feel it. Like the testing, I could physically feel it, which is how I knew it had to be real
Right.
because I felt it. Nobody was trying to convince me of it. So having that knowing, and then all of a sudden, like you said, the yellow and the book, I have read that book as well. That actually changed my life. And I've read most all of Jen's
Oh
books
God.
as
And I
well.
reread it. I think I've read it like two or listened to it 200 times because
Yeah,
that's like
it's
my
just
pump
so
up book.
it's so powerful, but when you start to see things align for you, when you start just asking like, okay, show me a sign, show me the way. Somebody mentions like you should, like to your point, find more yellow, and then all of a sudden you see 70 yellow cars driving by. It's like that's not really a coincidence. That's, in my opinion, that's the universe or life or God or whatever you want to call it, showing you like you're kind of on the right path
Yep.
or you're in the right knowing and just keep going,
Yep.
basically.
Yep.
So, okay, so you got Reiki. Now you're dialed inward. still running the business.
Yep.
I'm
And
curious.
then,
Yeah, go ahead.
and then COVID happened. COVID was not a blessing for a lot of people. I understand that. However, COVID turned into the biggest blessing for my self well-being because I had to shut down the business and I had to sit back and like reevaluate where I wanted to go with life. And I'll get emotional because it's like what I was doing was not working.
I
And I
know.
realized my energy was just like gone. And I realized I'm not present at home. I'm not present at work. I was just not present. And then I think I had to sit back and go like, okay, what do I want to do? And then out of anybody who would understand, it's like, then you have to close down like your identity.
Oh,
I was the freight hitting girl. So it's like, then you lose your identity. Then that's a whole nother like mind F, you know? And so that was the best thing that happened to me was having to close the business and go, I can't do this anymore. And that was kind of where I was like, I needed to let go of control and just let everything kind of go, which is hard for me.
I know.
But
I'm over
I did
here.
it. And
I'm covered in goosebumps. I'm crying with you. Literally, this is why we're friends and why
yeah,
we resonate on
but
so
we
many
did it.
levels. Yeah, the identity thing, that is a whole other F level of, I mean, our name's on the front door. People know you in town. Like you created this pillar in the community, and then all of a sudden it's just swept under the rug and you don't know where to go. I mean, I feel like I knew, I mean, we're creators, we're visionaries, right? Like I knew at my core that I could spin and I could pivot and I wasn't over, so to speak,
Right.
but I felt so lost. So lost. In addition, I don't know if this is something you can share, resonate with as well, but you spend a lot of time grassrooting and getting a well-oiled machine. And even though it's maybe really a lot of stress and energy on your body to run, the business was running, right?
Yeah.
Like almost
Yep.
too good in the
Yep.
sense of trying to just keep up. And there are these blessings along the way where it's like business is great, but how do I maintain this? And then COVID came along and literally overnight just closed the doors. It was at first, I mean, it's a range of emotions. I literally
Right.
can't even put myself there all the time because it was such a blur.
Yeah.
And I remember just sitting in my office some days, like staring out the window for hours, sometimes wondering, like, I don't even know what to do with myself. I don't even
Right.
know what to do with my time. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. You know, okay, great. Now I have some free time, but I
Which
would
we were
certainly,
begging for, but then
right,
it's like, now what? Because I can't
right.
do what I want to do. So it's like, and you get used to the go, 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 and then you had to stop. And that sucked.
The
But it was
robotics,
awakening.
right. The robotics of what we were running on to basically pour into everyone every day and show up every day, when that is like basically somebody just scrambles it up like a snow globe, it was hard to compartmentalize. And I'm a
Yeah.
control person. I'm like a two hands on the wheel, let's F and go kind of person. And I felt paralyzed. Like I
Yes.
felt completely paralyzed in what am I supposed to be doing? So, but again, to your point, a complete reassessment time and time to think through where do we go from here. Like once I got my head around it, the closures and the extensions kept throwing me off because you'd have hope and then it was like another door would close
Yeah.
and then you'd have hope and then a door would close. But I don't know. For me, it took me a few months to make the decision to close. I don't know. What was your time frame or when did you know like day one, you're like, I'm out? Like how did, walk me through
Well,
that
and
process?
at that point in time with the business, it was doing so well that my husband and I were to the point where we're like, we're either gonna go big or go home, like get a new, like expand or sell the business. Like those were the two places I was like, we need to figure out a 5-year plan because with the kids being the age. And then when COVID happened, like we had that conversation like 2 months prior. And then COVID happened. And then I was like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Then it went to, I know I have a profitable business. It worked when it was working. And then I'm like, let's try and sell it. Let's try and sell the business and see where it goes. And thank God someone saw the business that I'd built and had the passion for making people feel good. And I sold my business. And that was amazing because it was awesome that someone wanted to do the same thing and then worked for her for a while, which was great. But then I also realized I sold the business for a reason and I wanted to sell it. So why am I continuing to run my head up against this wall of, but 100%, I just did it because it was easy. Like it was instead
Yeah.
of going and working towards something that's challenging, I decided to just do what was easy for me. And so that's where I'm at right now, doing the challenging things that scare me rather than just going back to the easy thing. So
Yeah. Oh, fun. Well, I mean, fun and interesting and challenging and exciting all wrapped up in one. So I have a couple questions about this actually. And I
okay.
know, so now working from home,
Yep.
I want to talk a little bit about what you're doing with the Hey Child Stay Wild. That's super fun.
Yes.
But you and I both have a deep passion for creating a home that heals and creating a
Yes.
harmonious space. And I know both of our businesses were also harmonious spaces where we invited people in and wanted to make them feel comfortable. And I think that was one of the gifts that you had is when you walked into your place of business, you felt good. Like you
Yeah.
just felt the energy. It was high vibe. It was comfortable. I mean, obviously it needed to be, you have women or people coming in who are going to get naked
Yeah.
and they need to be comfortable to do
Yep.
so. So creating that space that makes you feel good in your own skin, but also a place where people can do some healing and do
Mhm.
some work on themselves. So working from home, and I know you have a sauna. We don't need to spend a ton of time on the sauna. Everybody knows that I'm a huge fan of the infrared
Yeah.
saunas.
Well, my
And
husband surprised me with it for Christmas. So that was
I know, I was
that was
gonna
the best
say,
part was I didn't know I was getting one. So
I know. So I want to talk a little bit about how so that was beautiful that your husband did that, by the way. I remember speaking with him and was like giddy. I had to keep secrets, obviously, and not tell you, but the fact that he gifted that to you, but
yes.
how beautiful that is for you guys to have an understanding that it's important to create a foundation and it's important to create not only a home, but a business or wherever you are, a space that feels good so that you can be the best version of yourself. So tell me a little bit about what you've created at home for you and your family, what that feels like, and what some of the favorite, I don't say a morning routine, or kind of walk me through some of the things that you do now within your home so that you can create into this next chapter of your life.
Okay, so we built 6 years ago and I was still am this crazy ironic crystal girl. And so we literally have crystals in my foundation. I got when they were pouring the foundation, I like came up and I'm sure all these guys were like, what is she doing? And I'm like, I'm throwing my crystals in the walls while they're like whatever.
I
And so we
love
got some
it.
in the basement. And then I mean, I have crystals all over my house, like everywhere. There's not a place that you look that you don't have one. And I'm also like, the neighbor kids find cool rocks and they drop them off at my house. They think that's like, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
But
My house is like the rock shop as well.
yeah, yeah. And so our house is kind of our sanctuary. I love entertaining. I love having people over, but I'm also not someone that just I have to spiritually clean my house after we have people over. Like I will sage, we run, I'm burning incense. And it's so funny. My husband will be like, have we burned sage in here for a little while? It is just not feeling good in here. And so it's like
Isn't it,
I love
isn't it
that
fun when the
he puts
guys
it
get on
down.
board?
Yes, yes. And so he'll be like, you need to burn something, whatever. And it's funny now that I'm home, I realized that I did not put a whole lot of effort into my house because I was working all the time. So now I actually get to like design my house kind of all over again and make it feel good to me. I would say my bedroom is probably like my sanctuary because I have my crystals. I just have kind of everything set up in there that just I can go on there and be like, oh, I know you're not supposed to watch TV in bed, but that is where I can come in and have like a few minutes alone by myself and be like, oh, like I will say my basement right now is not making me feel good. That is
It's
my
not, oh, it's not feng shui down
declutter.
there?
No, it's not feng shui at all. That gives me anxiety to go down there. And that's where my sauna room is. And I absolutely love my sauna room. We built that room for the sauna. Then I tried to kind of make that into like that room has been all over the place. But right now it's definitely like my place to go where it has that calming effect to it, which that is what I love. And sometimes I just turn on the sauna and I don't even sit in the sauna. I just sit like outside of it because I love the lights.
Yeah, I know.
And
It
it's
just
just
has
so like,
It just has an energy, even when
yeah,
you just turn it on, right? It's
yeah,
just, well, it's outputting the infrared energy, but even just to turn it on, it ignites a whole experience and a whole
yeah,
feeling. And
yeah.
so I love that you've created a sauna space. We just have to feng shui around it for
And
you.
we
So
just have
that's
to,
okay.
yes, yes.
Okay, so crystals, obviously that's not a surprise or coincidence. That's your name. So that's
Yeah.
kind of your jam.
Yep.
And the saging. I know we talked a little bit about the other day when we were on the phone, the importance of saging or just clearing the energy. So do you want to speak to that a little bit or what that means to you or how a person
Yes.
could maybe do that? Share a little bit of that with our listeners.
Yeah. So I really got into it when I realized that I actually had saged my studio. And after that happened, like it just changed everything in there. So I was like, we're doing this at our house. And every time I do it, it's something else that I figure out. Negative energy and stagnant energy stays like behind closed doors, which makes sense. It's like it can hide back there. So I was saging people's houses for a while. I recently just saged a business in town. And if you didn't believe in saging and energy, if you could have been there to see how the smoke was going and like it would have blown your mind away just to see how suffocating negative energy can be
Mhm.
and it puts the smoke up. The importance to me of that is the cleaning of your house is just so much more than seeing dust around and everything like that.
Right.
Like
It's
it
deeper than a vacuum cleaner for sure.
exactly. And after you do it, and I think I would love to teach people to do it because I love doing it, but it is exhausting. It is so exhausting. But if I could teach people how to do it themselves, it is almost gratifying after you're done doing it and you walk around your house and you're just like, oh my God, this just feels so much lighter. And you feel silly doing it because I tell people, I was like, you literally have to tell, negative energy, you got to get the
Right.
F out of here. Like, we don't want you anymore. You're not working for us. Get out the door. And people
Move
are
along.
doing that. But I'm like,
Yeah.
it's empowering that you can actually like change the energy of your house by doing that.
100%. I know the first that Mark wasn't home. I remember one time he was home though, and he's like, "What are you doing? Who are you talking to?" So I had to explain it, but I mean, I don't know if you want to walk through real briefly, like how a person does that, but essentially, I mean, I don't want to simplify it by any means because I
But it
think
is
there's a
simple.
tension.
It just, I think
Right,
it's, we make things hard and it does seem like it's hard. So if
right.
you don't know it,
So you get in the right headspace
yep,
and set an intention. And from what I understand, you open windows, correct?
yep, yep.
Okay. Do you want to walk through this so that I don't screw this up?
Yep. So
Pretend you're
typically
pretend you're just in a bedroom, right? You
okay,
walk in, person walks into a room.
walk into your room. So there are like, I'm not a big rule follower when it comes to
First time
things.
I
I
ever
do
did.
what feels right for me because I don't like
Right.
rules in general. But so there is like, you're supposed to go clockwise, counterclockwise, but I start and I do the door frame. So you sage around the door frame.
Mhm.
Go in your, if you're doing a bedroom, go and do all the nooks and crannies on the corners. I usually sage over the bed really, really well. And while you're doing it, you're just asking negative energy to leave. And you can say it out loud, you can say it in your head and just welcoming the new energy in. And the coolest thing, I think, is watching the smoke from the sage because you can kind of see when you get in certain spots the way that the smoke can either like almost like the sage goes out or it starts to make like circles. It's
A
for
circle.
that's yeah, and that's when you know, like, okay, we're getting there. This energy is good. We're moving in the right direction. Always sage behind doors. That's a huge thing. I also sage in because I think coming back to like women and insecurities when we're in our closets getting dressed, that
Mhm.
energy we put, like what you think turns into energy, So I always say spend a little bit of time where you get dressed and get ready because that is unfortunately, us dropping that negative
Yeah.
self-image that
I'm
can
gonna
do that
sage
to
my
us.
closet today.
Yeah, and it is a thing,
Honestly,
like,
I
I
wanted that, but we're standing in front of the mirror. We're
yep.
maybe a little insecure. If we're trying to go somewhere, like we have a wedding tomorrow, no doubt I'm gonna try on 75 dresses
Oh, yeah, yep,
and 74 aren't gonna look right or
yep,
whatever. Maybe they will. I mean, I feel fine, but we all know what we're talking about is in an area of where we maybe don't feel our best in a bathroom, in our closet, or in the area where we're getting undressed or we're being more vulnerable. So I 100% am in alignment with that. And I'm definitely going to sage my closet today. So that's a really good
but
space.
it is funny that you think, like and I was staging a friend's house, and I was in her closet, and I was like, "Oh," I was like, stop the negative self-talk in here. Like you can feel it when you come in. But we all do it. I mean, it's human nature. We're going to do it. But it's once we walk away and we don't even think about it. And then we go in there again and we're like, oh, I don't like it. Well, if you sage it, hopefully that pulls some of it out. And then like the Paleo Santo stick, like that's what I do after I sage my house. because Paleo Santo brings in the positive energy. So
Yeah.
I always say I turn on my 90s wrap and I walk around like that's the energy I want in here. Like, so
Yeah.
that's why I tell people stop making rules with it because it's your house, it's your energy. Do what you want, do what feels good to you instead of what a piece of paper says or that sort
Yeah.
of thing. So,
Yeah, there's no right way, and I apologize if I put you on the spot a little bit because I know
oh
that you
no.
have a process of it, but I
Yeah.
really think overarchingly here, there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just basically you go into the space, like I said, you open some windows if you can because you want to allow the negative energy to exit,
Yeah.
and you just do what feels good. You go inward, you ask yourself, ask the room, ask the space, anything that you can think speaking to you a lot of things too, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole with this, but I'm working with an interior designer right now to redo some areas of our home. And what I'm realizing is some of the artwork and some of the pieces that I've had for like 20, 25 years. Well, imagine the energy and the
Energy
stories
that's
that come
transferred.
along with
Yep.
that, right?
Yep.
And so I'm like, ooh, I gotta let a couple things go because they were maybe with me at a time that wasn't exactly fruitful or high vibe, so to speak. So look around the room and the space and decide like, is this serving me or do I love this? Or when I look at this, does this feel good? Or maybe I could find another piece. Or maybe this picture is 20 years outdated and I could find a more fun photo or something the old energy to leave.
Mhm.
Thank you, give it grace and move along. You don't have to get angry, but then invite the energy in. Again, go inward. And whether it's the 90s rap music or it's some other vibe or music or something that hits you, you invite that into the space. And if it's your bedroom, bedroom is a sanctuary space.
Mhm.
It's where you maybe share time with somebody else or you're supposed to be resting and restoring. That's where we go to sleep and we
Yeah.
ask for some peace. So that space should really invite more peace and tranquility. And so when you ask that to come to the room, that's what you're bringing to the room.
Yeah,
And
that's the only thing
also
that I would
that
say
can
is that
replace that.
the one
And
thing you need
literally
to do is
asking,
ask. Like
right.
that's it's that simple. But like I think we like you don't think it's that easy. But if you ask, I just want
Oh
peace
yeah. I
and
mean,
tranquility in here. It's like, oh, okay, it's that easy. Like,
yeah. I mean, the universe is a boomerang as far as
yeah,
I'm concerned.
yep,
We ask, and our gut intuition really does have a lot of the answers. So if you allow yourself to be a little vulnerable, and again, if a person needs to do this, whether by themselves and don't have a house full of spouses and kids and all of that, where you can just be a little bit more free, but start in one area of the house, what's most important to you, and just work your way around. And then
yeah,
next thing you know, you have this amazing energy that you've moved along the old and you're inviting in the new. So I love it. So inviting positive energy in, Paleo Santos, any other thoughts or any suggestions on how someone would finish that or anything else?
when I end my saging process, I go back to my front door because when I start at my front door, open up my front door, let the universe know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And then when I end, I ask all the negative energy to go. And thank you for what I always do thank it because I typically learn something from myself from that negative, like what I was doing to put that in. So I do thank it for being around, but then I think it's done go.
Yeah.
And I let it out the door and I shut the door and that's
Yeah. Have
um,
gratitude for the lessons, right?
yep,
Like
yep,
I always say, life happens for us, not to us.
yep,
And I think a lot of the times our darkest or deepest lessons come from sometimes negative experiences, or they were at least negative at the time. But
yeah,
again, you and I can agree that sometimes when we feel like our hands are off the wheel, that's actually when the biggest lessons are being shown to us because we have too tight of a grip.
yes. Well,
We're
and
not sure.
I always say, I used to be a make shit happen kind of a girl. And I'm slowly becoming a let shit happen because it's going to
Oh,
happen anyway. I realized my whole entire life, I was like, I need to make it happen. I need to make it happen. And then when I finally took a step back and was like, you know what, I'm gonna take a break and just let it go. And sure enough, it came a lot easier when I wasn't trying
I
to
know.
make it happen.
Yeah, was that for me as well. It's like we had no control over that. I felt like I was driving a bus at 100 miles an hour with a blindfold on. Like I did not know. But yeah, to your point, it definitely allowed a person to step back and just kind of let it be to God, so to speak, and get in the river of flow or just do what I know I can do and try to find some alignment with that.
Yeah.
That's a huge lesson. So I think a lot of people can resonate with that, whether it was business or personal relationships or whatever. I think the House of Cards kind of came down on a lot of different things where people learn those lessons. So kind of going back into a little bit of your home, obviously, I want to talk for a moment about what you're up to now. Where have you poured your passion into now that you've harmonized your home and you have the
Yes.
space and you've found some more balance?
Yeah.
I'd love
So
for you to share a little bit about what you're up to now.
I created Hey Child Stay Wild, and I kind of created that as a place where I could put mental health out there, creativity, and also energy work. Because to me, that's something that I embody. Like, that's Hey Child Stay Wild. I want people to go, okay, that's her. That's what she's doing.
Totally you.
Yeah. So and plus also too, I also think a lot of us, and now having two kids myself, I want nothing more than for my daughters to be who they are and talk about mental health, be creative, embrace their personalities rather than let someone else tell them who they should and shouldn't be. But my way to kind of start the Hey Child Stay Wild is I started making crystal energy bracelets, and that was my creativity, and it kind of the energy work into that and explaining to people like how, what, where, what we're doing. And we talked about this on the phone last week where it's like, I'm not 100% sure where I'm going with everything. I just know it
We
will
don't
go
need to
where it's
know.
supposed to go and continue to have fun with it. Just try something new. I think so many of us are so afraid to try something new because if we fail, people are going to talk about it, or people are going to have something to say. And it's like, I'd rather fail and have someone talk bad about me or say that was a dumb idea than never do it. And then I feel stupid,
Right.
like I would rather go and fail a million times because at one time and learning, I'm having fun with it. So why not? Like,
Yeah.
that's my theory.
Yeah, I think fail is such an interesting word. And as business owners or creators or whatever it is we're doing, like I failed at a marriage before. Like, okay, I got
Yep.
divorced. I looked at that as a failure and I felt shame around that for however long because you go into something
And I am like,
committed and I'm
yep,
a pretty loyal, committed person. However, I don't look at my previous marriage as a failure. I look at it one of the biggest chapters of my life where I learned a ton. I learned a
yep.
ton about what I want, what I don't want, who I need, who I don't need, who I want to be, who I don't want to be. And so I think you can apply that to just about anything, really.
Well, and I like
So
the analogy too. Failure is just a chapter in a book. It's really not it. Like other that it's just a piece of your puzzle that your
yeah,
puzzle's not done yet.
it literally is just giving you feedback. It's not even, that's why I said the word failure. It's like, well, who decided that that's a failure? I mean, if I was
Right.
still in that marriage, that would be a failure, in my
Exactly.
opinion.
Exactly.
It's just feedback. It's just information. Mark and I talk about this because he's recently stepped in or last year into entrepreneurship. And as humans, our biggest fear is failure. Like, I'm going to be bad at this, or I'm not going to make the money, or I'm going to piss people off, or whatever. And it's like, if you step back and look at that, it's really just pointing you in a different direction. It's not really failure. It's just saying, no, go over here.
Mhm.
No, go over here. No, these aren't your people. No, this
Yeah.
isn't what you should be doing. No, this actually doesn't monetize. This monetize, so it's all just feedback. And so I think that from our conversation, I was laughing because I feel like we could have had a part one and part two if we
Oh, I know.
recorded last week's phone conversation. I was flying so high vibe after that call. I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
I
And it's
cannot
like
wait.
like I said, everything us talking puts so much out in the universe and then all
Yeah.
this stuff happened. It's like, yay, see? And that's why you have to talk about it because it like
What
comes
did
to
it?
fruition when
Yeah. Throw it out there and see
yeah,
what sticks. But I feel like none of this is really, and who constitutes a failure? Like no one's
right,
keeping score and nobody has time to keep score of what you're doing and what I'm
right,
doing. It's all just us. And so if we step back and just look at it more as like an assessment of this worked well or this didn't work so well, it's really not failure. It's just
right.
feedback. So I
I
love the
like that.
crystals. I've been wearing crystal bracelets for a very long time. For me, it's a reminder of who I want to be and the energy I want to exude and the energy I want to carry and the energy I want to receive and the energy I don't want to receive.
Yep.
We just got back from Florida and I travel with my crystals in my purse. I actually pulled them out of my purse to these ladies and they're like, well, EMF and different frequencies. And I want to
Yep.
stay grounded. Like wherever I go, I want to carry and keep my grounded energy. And so the crystals, the bracelets that you make are an amazing way to do that. They're literally on your body. And
Right. And
so,
I tell everybody, I'm like, let's say you don't believe in any of the energy. Like, let's say you just think they're pretty and you want one. And I'm like, my biggest thing is that I'm wearing that I'm mom so hard one right now. And it's like when I want to fly off my band, sometimes it's a reminder to be like, okay, chill out. This is not as big as a deal as you think it is. Like it's that reminder, like you said, of like the person I want to be. So
Right.
that's what I tell people. I was like, let's say you just wear it because you think it's pretty, use it as like your check-in point.
Stay in alignment.
Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah. And a lot of them too. And I don't know, you can have different charms or you can put different sayings. I know one of mine just says faith on it. When you're feeling like you're lost or you need some guidance or grounded energy, it's like just have faith. And that's awesome because again, I mean, I'm not a mom, but obviously I have a lot of girlfriends that are, and that's an everyday, right? Like
yeah.
that's something that you have to stay in alignment, not only for yourself, but also lead by example and exude the kind of person that you want to be. So I love that. What's your favorite crystal?
Oh gosh.
I know. Sorry to put you on the
I
hot
feel
spot.
like mine changes all the time, but my go-to, I think, will always be tourmaline. My black tourmaline will always
Oh yeah.
be, and kyanite. Those were my first big stones that I got into, and those ones have just always resonated with me the most as like the protection and the grounding. I mean, I'm a very person, so I need a lot of grounding.
Yeah. I'm
That
flying
helps me.
to your point.
Yeah,
I'm
so
flying 40,000 miles above the clouds all the time. So
yeah,
I need, that's where I think visionaries are, but
yeah,
I 100% agree. My black tourmaline is one of my faves. As
yeah,
we chatted about the massive stone mark just bought for me as a gift.
yes, and I love that.
Sits in our great room, and it's a great reminder of to stay grounded. It's the center point of our home. I have a piece of black tourmaline that sits above our front door on the trim above our front door. And that's for protection, basically. That's probably one of my favorite things to teach others. And this is something everybody can do very easily is just to bless a piece of tourmaline and set the intention that you're only inviting healthy energy into your space, good energy into your home, and those that are negative energy that stays outside the front door. And so wherever we've moved, whether it's the business or the homes, like a piece of black tourmaline above the door is just a really great protection as well as great reminder to keep the high vibe energy within the home and keep it grounded. So
Yes.
I would say black tourmaline is one of my faves. And then I'm looking around my office right now at like 50 other options that I have.
Like, I don't know.
I'm a huge selenite fan. I love my quartz crystal for sure. That's been instrumental in my physical healing on my body. I think the quartz crystal has been really powerful for that. And then I think rose quartz. I think a lot of women can resonate with the rose quartz, the heart, the
Yes.
love thyself,
Yep.
and the energy
So
that
that's
comes
what
from the rose.
I'm mom so hard is
Oh, is it?
highlight, rose quartz, and then amethyst. So
Oh,
those
beautiful.
are the
Oh, those
three
are the
that go
best.
together with I'm mom so hard.
Oh my gosh. You are such a bright light. Okay. Well, I feel like we could chat for hours. We'll probably have to have a part 2 and 4 and 7 and 9, and we'll continue this. And we want to continue to hear too from you, as far as like anything that comes up, any teachings or anything that you offer. But I would love for you to share with our community where they can find you. We'll put your information in the show notes too, but where would be the best place for people to find you, follow you, contact you, be in
So
your orbit?
Yep. So on Facebook and Instagram, I'm Hey Child Stay Wild. I explain it's a little circle with Hey Child Stay Wild, and I've got a tattoo that has its own. You're seeing the video. That's where you find me on there. And then my website is Hey Child Stay Wild 1111. So had to add that
Wonderful.
1111 in there.
Oh my gosh. Love it. Goosebumps always. Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us today. Like I said, you are such a bright light. I feel like even those that don't see this video can probably feel your energy.
I love that we stayed connected, even though we're not even anywhere close near each other these days.
I know. I don't even know
the sister stuff that just connects to us.
I have no idea when the last time we actually saw each other in person.
know.
It doesn't even matter. We literally picked up on the phone the other day. It was like, hey, I felt like I saw you last week. But no, that's soul sister connection. And I think that's where it's at. And that's why I always encourage women, especially just to stay in touch with your tribe. That's where it's at. So thanks again, Crystal. We'll definitely chat soon.
Thank you.
Okay, friends and fellow wellness warriors, thanks for tuning in today. If this show was helpful and inspired you, please head over to Apple or Spotify to rate, review, subscribe, and follow us, as well as share it with your friends and family. It's a fantastic way to grow the show, expand my reach, and teach others how to create a vibrant life they love. If you're ready to invest in your health and purchase a Clear Light sauna, hop on over to jenhellerlifestyle.com and send me a note. Thanks again for tuning in. I love you. I'm grateful for you. And I thank you so much for your support. You are the reason I do this work. You are the reason I do this show. And you are the reason I get up every single day with a burning desire in my soul. Cheers to your health and happiness, my friends. We'll see you next week. This podcast is for general information purposes only and is not intended to be substituted for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you think you have a medical condition, consult your licensed physician.